Before to look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance, Calipo, and Nido Fortigro, your love, their future.
And tonight, convicted Ghanaian UBS trader Kweku Adibuli to be deported.
Ghana National Association of Teachers (NAT) to secure injunction to restrain the conduct of the licensure examination.
More than 96% of electrical products on the market fail conformity test.
Ahead in business, economist Dr. Osei Esibe suggests government revises its trade policies and investment approach in order not to be shortchanged.
And international news, lack of funding blamed by Brazilian officials about the fire which ravaged the country's national museum.
Stay with us here on News 360. We bring you the details of these stories. Our bulletin is streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. And here's where we start off this evening. Former UBS trader Kweku Adibuli, convicted of fraud in 2012, is facing deportation to Ghana after being detained at Livingstone Police Station. Kweku Adibuli was released in 2015, having served 4 years of a 7-year sentence for a $1.4 billion fraud at Swiss bank UBS. Foreign nationals sentenced to more than 4 years are automatically considered for deportation. His spokesperson said he was being held at Scotland's Dungerville Immigration Removal Centre and that the Home Office has indicated its intention to deport him or soon on September 10 or soon after September 10. He was detained when attending a monthly check-in at Livingstone Police Station. Adibuli is Ghanaian but has lived in the UK since the age of 12. The 2011 UBS rogue trader scandal caused a loss of over $2 billion at Swiss bank UBS as a result of unauthorized trading performed by Kweku Adibuli, a director of the bank's global synthetic equities trading team in London in early September 2011. So that's Kweku Adibuli there. Let's now go through what contributed, in fact, to his deportation that has been described as the UK's biggest fraud. Now, Kweku Adibuli joined UBS's London office as a guarantee trader in September of 2006, and within 4 years, he became director of ETF with an annual salary of almost £200,000. He exceeded the bank's per-employee daily trading limits of $100 million during his early days at UBS. In mid-2011, UBS launched an internal investigation into Adibuli's trades. Now, in an email to his employers, he admitted false trades that cost the bank some $2 billion. Now, these trading losses that he incurred while trading for UBS were the largest unauthorized trading losses in British history. This goes to mark the weight of this crime, in fact, caused by Kweku Adibuli. Now, on September 15, 2011, he was arrested by the City of London Police, and he was charged with 2 counts of fraud by abuse of position and 4 counts of false accounting. He was imprisoned and on remand until June 8, 2012, and granted bail subject to being electronically tagged and placed under curfew at a friend's house in the UK. Now, Adibuli was incarcerated in Verne Prison, in Dorset Fort Prison, in West Sussex, and Maidstone Prison in Kent. He was later released. Despite living in the UK since 1991, since he was 12, he did not apply for citizenship in the United Kingdom. Now, what is rather unfortunate about this financial crime of a sort performed by Kweku Adibuli also goes to show the fact that he's Ghanaian, and this issue is being investigated as he's been deported back here. Isa?
So much for Adipati. Let's move on to some other stories on NEWS360. Tonight, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, has served notice to secure a court injunction to restrain the National Teaching Council from conducting the upcoming licensure exams for prospective teachers. The association accused the council for failing to conduct broader discussions before rolling out the policy. General Secretary of NAT, David Ofure-Champon, spoke exclusively to our correspondent, Daniel Upuku.
The licensure exam has been scheduled for next week, although the teacher unions, comprising NAT, NAGRAT and CCT Ghana, have called for the suspension of the policy. NAT argued the document on the exams has not been thoroughly discussed by stakeholders.
You can acquire the knowledge with the certification you get from the recognized university, but the skills, you get it out there. So if you tell somebody that he has acquired the knowledge, you've not exposed him to the real job situation, and he should come and write an examination which will guarantee that he's a professional. It's something that we don't understand.
It's again noted the NTC is implementing a draft document which has no legal backing.
These are not the finality. If we have had a discussion over the years and this document is there and we have all perused the document and we think it's okay, let's adopt it. But you don't keep it there and say that you have this document and therefore you are hitting the road running. When there's a problem that emanates from this document, how are you going to address it? Despite
protests by some sections of prospective teachers, others have begun registering for the exams. NAT has since petitioned the NTC to resolve challenges associated with the conduct of the exams or risk legal action.
I've written a letter to the NTC. I've copied the Honorable Minister of Education. NTC is supposed to be an advisory body to the Minister of Education. We have raised issues in our letter. I think the Honorable Minister will see this letter on his table. And they might have been talking about it and they might invite us for a discussion. We hope that we'll be able to get a resolution to the problem. Like I've said, if it doesn't happen, we'll find appropriate means of making sure that these exams don't take place.
Passing the licensure exam is one of the conditions for the issuance of professional teaching license and registration numbers to qualified trained teachers.
Let's turn to health now, as the Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu has assured the 2016 batch of unemployed nurses of their financial clearance for their employment, hopefully on Tuesday, September 4. The group intends to embark on a demonstration on Wednesday, September 5.
The coalition of unemployed nurses has served notice to embark on a nationwide demonstration on Wednesday, September 5 through to September 7th to protest against government's failure to recruit them into the health sector. 2016 batch of trainees insist it is the only way to push government to employ them. But the Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu says the ministry had made progress in resolving their concerns.
There are plans for them. We are working with them together. We believe that this thing will not come to pass. We are engaging. We still have a few notches to clear. I've sent people to Minister of Finance. We are working on their financial clearance still. The indications are that maybe by tomorrow we might get it and we'll preempt the strike action.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Association of Registered Nurses has declared its support for the demonstration.
In other news tonight, customers of the First Allied Savings and Loans in Takoradi besieged the premises demanding for their deposits. The customers who are unable to withdraw their money have accused officials of the bank of the breach of contract.
When TV3 News got to the premises of the First Allied Savings and Loans facility around 11 a.m. on Monday, the customers do not understand why their monies will not be released to them.
I came here for fixed deposit. Somebody introduced me to this place. I deposited almost 2 billion. I can't even talk.
Who sent that? I want to one kind of quality. I
don't understand why they refuse to tell us the truth. We may understand when we are told the truth. I need the money to pay my wars fees.
My boy now, my bobra unkwasiaba. Pay mu to them abako bi ho no okaji bosia. O hu kura o de sabi yakwasam penny. Me so me yakwasam penny.
Police reinforcement was brought in to ensure order as we were told a customer had attempted removing a flat screen television set from the wall. An official of the bank then explained to them that their monies are in 2 to 5 year bonds which will mature soon. But this only agitated them further.
Stories. If
the bank is collapsing, we should be told. The stories they tell us every day do not help us at all.
Why you now they be about my stories or you too much.
Maybe the hostel fee or 10 million na I
have deposited my ward's hostel fees here. I am always told to write a letter, which I do. Sometimes I sit here all day and no one attends to me.
Any day or me be ko school na me tena ha sama me kemenyi brisamo da me be su ya ko ble de ya nkasa mo ho iti wo ma me hu da me ba no sese on ko school ana do boko school ma me hwehwe fi won ho anyen.
For now, unless there's divine intervention, the woes of the customers of First Allied Savings and Loans will continue. Reporting for TV3 News, Irama Smith, Takrady.
The police at Axim in the Western region have begun investigations into an incident involving some fishermen who allegedly attempted to drown a marine police officer. The suspects were reportedly protesting the inspection of their canoes, which contained light aggregated fishing devices and other illegal fishing implements.
The incident reportedly occurred on Friday, August 31 at sea, following suspected illegal fishing activities by some Axim and Apelsika fishermen. The Fisheries Enforcement Unit had deployed a team of marine police to enforce the laws. The fishermen, numbering about 25, reportedly pulled up the anchor rope to get the canoe to sail away from the shoreline. The police said the illegal fishermen immediately attacked the two marine policemen. One of the policemen, Detective Sergeant Wanda, was reportedly pushed into the sea in a bid to get him drowned but swam to safety. It took an order from the owner of the canoe, one Joseph Sumuna, to get the policemen released. No arrest has been made. Fishing by light aggregation is one of the illegal fishing practices contributing to the decline of Ghana's marine fish stock.
And now more than 96% of electrical products sampled by the Ghana Standards Authority failed to conform to standards. The Director General, Professor Alex Dodu, made this known at a news conference here in Accra.
According to the Ghana Standards Authority, more than 92% of all products sampled failed to meet the LI 1541 labeling requirements. A market surveillance also revealed all extension boards sampled failed the critical parameter test and generally labeling requirements. It was also revealed that only 7 out of 127 footwear samples examined and tested for conformity passed the test. Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, said the authority would continue to conduct sweeps at market centers to check such fake products. On whether the authority is not wasting resources on sweeps rather than checking products from the entry points, Professor Dodu admitted the lapse but was quick to add that the authority is putting in stringent measures to control the flow of the goods into the country.
GSA and for those products regulated by FDA and Customs are the only agencies now at the ports. So what does that mean? That means that if we see products in town, it's either we did not do our work at the ports or something happened. We have a quality police, we call it market surveillance team, but my short word is quality police. And what we are doing is that we are removing them from the markets. We are removing them from circulation, we are applying the needed sanctions. Of footwear, 125 different pieces of footwear checked. Only 5 met Ghana standards for footwear. People don't realize that the footwear you wear can damage your health seriously if it doesn't meet the standards.
He said the authority would ensure that products on the market meet the standards, adding Ghana will not be allowed to serve as a dumping ground.
We as GSA cannot blame anybody. We are supposed to be at the ports. So our view is that, yes, we know they're coming through the land lines, the land borders illegally. when we see a product illegally in town, we are going to ask you how it got in, because we should have seen it. If you didn't see it, then it came in illegally. And if it came in illegally, then it should go out.
The Ghana Standards Authorities mandated under the Standards Authority Act 1973 to undertake conformity assessment activities.
Now, General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, says the party has not sanctioned any vigilante group but will not hesitate to protect itself if the MPP refuses to disband its vigilante groups. Members of a vigilante group, the Hawks, were at the party's regional executive election held at Kumewu in the Ashanti region over the weekend.
The group, known as the Hawks, was first seen during the NDC's party unity walk in the Ashanti region, carrying out some security duties. The presence of the group in subsequent NDC-organized programs raised concerns among some security experts. Members of the group were again seen at the party's regional executive elections held at Kumewu in the Ashanti region over the weekend, engaging in some form of protection for some of its members. This again raised eyebrows, with many questioning if the NDC has finally formed and incorporated its own vigilante group.
We will try to find out who they are. Are they in the party structure? If so, why they are coming up, and what is the solution? Of course, we have always been warning the MPP that if we want vigilantes out, let's keep vigilantes out. But to the extent that MPP will continue encouraging invisible forces, funding them and talking about them openly and so on, if that is what they are going to do, of course we are in a contest. Then nothing will prevent our party people to also meet them boot for boot. But if they take the advice and they say that, look, let's do away with all vigilante groups, then the playing field will be even.
On the just ended regional elections, the General Secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, described the exercise as a success. He is optimistic it will be replicated during the national executive elections.
This election has been different for several reasons. In the first place, the activities leading to these elections, I think, have been exceptionally good. So once the preparation was good, there was no doubt at all in our minds that the results will be good. So we are praying and expecting that the National Congress will be even better.
The NDC is expected to organize its national executive elections on October 20.
And now our citizen journalist on MTN Video Report this evening is Abdullah Husseini, and he reports on the poor state of drainage at Yohini Yapala Tamale in the northern region.
This is Abdullah Husseini from Tamale South constituency, Yohini Yapala to be precise. This gutter is actually a very dangerous gutter, a very disturbing one for that matter. This particular building is about to get collapsed as a result of the effects of the gutter. So we are appealing to the general public and the appropriate authority as well to come to our aid. Your citizen journalist, Abdullah Husseini.
From Abdullah Hussein, and you can also send your video to us wherever you are via our video report on WhatsApp number 0551 433 044. You're on News 360, and we'll return shortly with business news with Nanepia Mensah Abraham.
You're still watching News 360. Good evening and thanks for staying with us. Time for business with me, Nanikia Mensah Brampa. And we're talking about the Ghana-China relations, which is taking a lot of space. The economist Dr. Osei Asibe has named China the leading cause of the seeming scramble for Africa by the EU, US and UK investment approach with China and other foreign investors so as not to be shortchanged.
China is now the single largest bilateral financier of infrastructure in Africa, surpassing the ADB, the European Commission, and group investor in Africa, with Britain's private sector companies taking the lead in investing the billions that see African economies growing by trillions. Economist Dr. Osei Asibe says China is responsible for the increased momentum by G7 nations to shore up investments in Africa.
China did not build that master-servant relationship where, it's only about aid. They came in with more investment focus, investing in roads, investing in mining, investing in oil, gas. And it also fit very well into even our own president's mantra of Ghana beyond aid.
Investment and financing arrangements with China have led to Africa making significant new gains in trade. In 2010, China emerged the major source of finance for investment in new commodity extraction and helped boost the international market price for African exports. From January to September 2017, China was the leading source of investment in terms of project numbers in Ghana, registering 25 projects. In spite of these gains, economist Dr. Osei Asibe warns Ghana can be short-changed if it fails to revise its trade policies and investment approach with China and other foreign investors.
I don't think we should continue to give them so much incentive, tax breaks, and so that in the end they will produce and government earns nothing from the revenue that is generated. I think now we need to redefine that. Much as we want them, they also want us.
China-Africa Research Initiative at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies has sounded alarm bells that African countries might be unable to repay Chinese loans due to fluctuating commodity prices and decreased absorptive capacity.
Well, so interestingly, African countries have shown a healthy appetite for Chinese loans, but some experts now worry that the continent is increasing in debt to China and could soon choke. Concerns have been raised as to whether Africa should be wary of Chinese debts. There's more in this report.
A BBC report and analysis raises the question as to whether Africa should be worried about the growing indebtedness to China. The Entebbe-Kampala Expressway is still a tourist attraction for Ugandans, nearly 3 months after it opened. The 51-kilometer, that's 31-mile, 4-lane highway that connects the country's capital to the Entebbe International Airport was built by a Chinese company using a $476 million, that's 366 million euro loan from the China Exim Bank. The Chinese loans comes as many African countries are once again in danger of defaulting on their debts more than a decade after many had their outstanding borrowing written off. At least 40% of low-income countries in the region are either in debt distress or at high risk, the International Monetary Fund warned in April. Chad, Eritrea, Mozambique, Congo Republic, South Sudan and Zimbabwe were considered to be in debt distress at the end of 2017, while Zambia and Ethiopia were downgraded to high risk of debt distress. China is now the single largest bilateral financier of infrastructure in Africa, surpassing the ADB, the European Commission, the European Investment Bank, the International Finance Corporation, the World Bank, and the Group of 8, that's G8 countries combined. China has the lion's share of African debt, but the countries are borrowing from many other sources internationally. So far, China has only paid lip service to such long-term support that will wean African countries of their dependency on the Asian tiger.
Okay, so let's move away from Ghana-China matters to some more tonight. And Star Times has added another channel to its bouquet of channels, and Adipati V is country-specific for Ghana and will broadcast local music and movies.
Star Times launched its service in Ghana in October 2016 with the goal of providing affordable pay TV services. Adipati V will broadcast Ghanaian music, Ghanaian movies, Ghanaian sports, and 3 dabs in high definition.
We also have local sports, i.e. the Kotoko and Haas, the local leagues, the local tournaments, and so on. We also have local music, pure Ghanaian music. So from our hip life and high life artists, our gospel artists, they're also featured there.
Head of Marketing, Akofa Jankwi, said Adipati V will continue to work with the film industry to acquire more local content.
We are still acquiring, we're still talking to the producers and producing some in-house. So when we have enough to be able to fill the channel 24/7, the channel will be solely for Ghana content. For starters, this channel is open to Ghana only, but going forward it will be open to all the 30 African countries that Star Times operates in, so that we have all this Ghanaian content showcased outside for the world to see.
Adipati V went live on September 1 with interesting Kumawood movies, after which customer care lines have been beeping for more.
It is a laudable step that Star Times have made, where exclusively have a channel where you can find authentic Ghanaian material. For me, even as we commend them, I also want to also sort of encourage our filmmakers, artistic, technical, that this is an opportunity for us to step up our game in terms of the quality of our content.
Adipati V is a good thing because we are movie shooting. We need a support TV station to come and support us.
Adipa is available on both the Star Times decoder and the app. Star Times' entry into the Ghanaian market has created employment, opened up the market, and brought about competition in the industry.
All right, so let's now look at development on the stock market. And the managing director of First Bank Brokerage, Edem Akpenyo, is proposing government sets up a fund to purchase the unsold shares of the MTN IPO in trust for Ghanaians. This, he says, will ensure that indigents own 30% of the company as agreed with its acquisition of its 4G license.
By raising 1.1 billion cedis from 128,152 applicants, the IPO made history as the largest primary share offer in the history of the Ghana Stock Exchange, enabling many Ghanaians from all walks of life to own a share in one of Ghana's largest companies. Of the amount raised, 703 million cedis was raised from non-Ghanaians, representing 61.31%, while 444 million cedis was raised from Ghanaians, representing 38.69%. This makes Ghanaian ownership stake in MTN a mere 3%. This, the managing director of First Bank Brokerage, is not happy about.
Now that minimum has not been reached. What is the plan B? If it's possible to have maybe some fund created, maybe let me say by the government, to mop up the rest of the issues that are not taken and hold it in trust for Ghanaians, so that these can be released as time goes on, so that government can sell it off to Ghanaians as and when there are opportunities. I'm sure that even that can be done at some profit to the government.
MTN listing is expected to improve liquidity of the Ghanaian stock market.
The IPO has not been fully subscribed. It has been successful though, and we are hoping that as they come to the market, we will see a lot more activity onto the market. With this issue, a big chunk of the economy is going to be represented on the exchange, which is the communication sector, which is playing a very big role in our economy, and that is impressive because in certain jurisdictions you can take a look at the market, the performance of the market, and by that even that will be a proxy for how the economy in total is performing.
The first day of trading of MTN shares is expected on Wednesday, September 5th.
Okay, so that's about it for business tonight. There's more on 3news.com. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. When we return, some sports action with Thierry Nyan.
All right, so it's now time for some entertainment and lifestyle news with me, Nana Kwejwado. Now, last weekend inside Cape Coast was a great one. The Central Regional Capital, Cape Coast, came alive over the weekend as the 2018 TV3 Fetu Afashe climaxed with a street jam by TV3. Now, the well-patronized music jam hosted some of Cape Coast's finest artists.
The excitement began with a street carnival dubbed Orange Friday. The Afashe Jams, a concert by Media General Group, further intensified the excitement. Turnout was massive. Revelers who thronged the Chapel Square were thrilled with back-to-back performances by Cape Coast's grown talent. Real MC was phenomenal on stage, proving why he's counted among the best lyricists. Ishan was a delight to watch. Boogie Wednesday, Kobe Simple, and winner of this year's Talented Kids, Samuel Owusu, also graced the stage.
From the onset, 50 suspects, nobody go win against us.
The impact of the crowd on businesses is your guess. Fans could not help but yell for more.
Highly spiritual.
All right, so that was the Cape Coast music jam with TV3 Afashe. Now, moving on to the next story. Gospel musician Bernard Amankwa has revealed that stories on musicians relying on charms for fame are real. Now, according to the presence composer, many desperate musicians turn to juju men for breakthrough and word of competition. He wants upcoming talents to stay off such practice.
We, the musicians, whatever we put out there, we have to be mindful of it. Some musicians chant in the studio before they record. Others send tapes or CDs to juju men for fame, money. We are missing it, fellow musicians.
The musician made a staggering observation at the launch of the 11th edition of his concert Celebration of His Grace. But are they not baseless allegations? Where did Bernard Amankwa find one? The reporter queried.
I cannot give you names, but people have confided in me. Some of the old musicians who have now changed will tell me how they went somewhere to get their songs to juju men, malams, and all the other places. And some were even saying that there's a place they had to sit on a crocodile in the night to cross a river. People do all these sort of things.
The gifted singer wants musicians desist from the practice of relying on charms to make them superstars overnight.
The demands, you may get the success that you paid, you may get the money, but the end it will not be good for you. So that is why some of them come to us. They believe that we can be of help to them, praying for them and counseling them to get out of the situation they find themselves in. It is God who has called me. If God wants me to sing to 3 people, I'm content with it. If God wants me to reach thousands of people, I'm content with it.
Now, still with Bernard Amankwa, the 11th edition of Celebration of His Grace, a live worship concert with Bernard Amankwa has been launched. Now, proceeds from the concert scheduled for September 23 will go to aid a boreholes project for inhabitants of Kweli Kweli in the Karachi East District.
Lovers of music should come and just celebrate with us. And as I said, ministry has grown over the years, and we cannot afford to give any mediocre performances. So the performances is going to be up there. The lineup is also tight. There's going to be drama, there's going to be music. So we encourage everybody to come around.
All right, so that's it for entertainment and lifestyle news today. My name is Nana Kwejuado. Don't forget that Sadia is coming back.
Certainly, Sadia is coming back. Thanks so much for that, Nana Kwejuado. And that's how we round up News 360 this evening. I'm Natalie Fort.
And I'm Isa Morning. Keep watching TV3. Have a wonderful evening.